Globalism involves attempting to bring together different groups under a single leader or set of ideas. While the term globalism is new and generally refers to countries working closely together today, there are biblical accounts that show individuals and empires attempting to centralize control. One of the most notable examples of early globalism in the Bible is the story of the Tower of Babel found in Genesis 11:1-9. This is perhaps the most famous example of early globalization efforts, the attempt to build the Tower of Babel around the 21st century BCE. This act was a direct disobedience to God's command to populate the earth, as mentioned in Genesis 9:1. According to the narrative, humanity speaking a single language congregated in the land of Shinar, Babylon, and decided to build a city and a tower with its top in the heavens to make a name for themselves and avoid being dispersed across the earth. In simple terms, humanity rebelled, deciding to centralize in a single city and not be scattered over the earth, as instructed by God. The construction of the Tower of Babel was led by King Nimrod, who was the great-grandson of Noah. Nimrod's name, often interpreted as rebel, reflects his disobedience in leading such an ambitious endeavor. This endeavor was undoubtedly an act of pride and rebellion against God, leading to divine intervention. God confused their language, causing them not to understand each other anymore, and scattered them across the face of the earth, thus frustrating their efforts of unification and centralization. Nimrod, the hunter, is sometimes seen as a type of Antichrist, a harbinger of the Antichrist, due to his disobedience to God's authority. This rebellion aimed to centralize human power and possibly reach heaven without divine approval, directly opposing God's command for humanity to spread out and populate the earth, as seen in Genesis 9:1. This disobedience mirrors the Antichrist's opposition to God's authority, as described in New Testament prophecies. Nimrod is often associated with establishing the first kingdom on earth, including several important cities in Mesopotamia, as seen in Genesis 10:10. His efforts to centralize power and control can be seen as precursors to the domination that the Antichrist is prophesied to exert over nations, consolidating political and religious power to challenge God's authority. Although not explicitly stated in the Bible, traditional and extra-biblical interpretations suggest that Nimrod may have been instrumental in introducing idolatry and false worship. These practices directly contradict the worship of the one true God, a characteristic action of the Antichrist, who, according to biblical prophecy, will exalt himself above all that is called God or is worshipped in Christian eschatology. Nimrod's kingdom, especially the Tower of Babel, symbolizes human pride, rebellion, and the attempt to attain divine status without God. Therefore, Nimrod is seen by some Bible scholars as a type of Antichrist. The Antichrist is similarly described as exalting himself and seeking worship, embodying human rebellion against God's sovereignty. There have been other attempts throughout biblical history too. The centralized power of all the empires presented in a dream to the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar represents another attempt to institute a single world government. Could it be that we are finally on the brink of the arrival of the Antichrist? Could it be that technology has advanced to a stage where the dominion of the Antichrist is no longer just probable but a certainty? Could it be that, with the formation of economic unions and political alliances, the world is slowly shifting and aligning itself for the reign of the Antichrist? Could it be that current global events are preparing the ground and setting the stage for the emergence of the Antichrist? Could it be that we are living in the times described in the book of Revelation? Could it be that what we are witnessing is the beginning of birth pains with nation rising against nation and kingdom against kingdom? Could it be that we are witnessing the unfolding of history, the turning of pages, and the arrival of the man of sin? Could it be that the growing acceptance of surveillance technology under the guise of security and convenience is paving the way for the all-seeing eye of the Antichrist's government? Could it be that widespread turmoil, natural disasters, plagues, wars, and rumors of wars are the birth pains preceding the end times? Could it be that the call for global unity and resolution of these crises is actually a step towards the global government of the Antichrist foretold in Revelation? Could it be that the increasingly blurred lines between political, economic, and religious power are creating the perfect environment for the rise of the Antichrist? Could it be that the growing persecution of Christians and the marginalization of traditional moral values are fulfilling the prophecies of the last days? Could it be that we are witnessing the preparation for the final battle between good and evil, as foretold in the scriptures? Could it be that these observations are not mere coincidences, but signs that we are truly living in the end times, as prophesied in Revelation 13? In the heart of Revelation, amidst the visions given to John, we find ourselves on the verge of understanding the vast and unparalleled scope of the Antichrist's dominion. The reach and power of the Antichrist will be unlike anything the world has ever seen. He will surpass the power and reach of all the great empires that have risen and fallen, from Nimrod to Alexander the Great. His empire will be greater, from the Mongol Empire founded by Genghis Khan in the early 13th century to the British Empire, which covered nearly a quarter of the Earth's land area. The reach and control of the Antichrist will surpass all these empires and their leaders. Furthermore, the Roman Empire, which once dominated the Mediterranean and beyond, and the Ottoman Empire, which stretched across 3 continents and ruled for over 6 centuries, will pale in comparison to the authority wielded by the Antichrist. Indeed, the Antichrist's dominion will eclipse the global reach and influence of every empire that has populated the annals of history, casting a shadow over the entire world. Here are 2 verses from Revelation chapter 13 that demonstrate the absolute reach and dissemination. The power of the Antichrist, Revelation 13:7, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations. Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads. These verses reveal the reality of a world under the rule of this formidable ruler known as the beast who emerges from the sea. This beast, as prophesied, is granted power to make war with the saints and overcome them, and authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. The gravity of this authority cannot be overstated. It heralds a time when the entire globe falls under a singular government, a centralized control that knows no bounds, where the world will be ruled by one man, a man energized by the very power of hell, where the world will be ruled by a man empowered by Satan, the fallen. The scope of this control is further emphasized in the chilling mandate of Revelation 13:16, where the beast, through his prophet, demands that all, regardless of status, wealth, or freedom, bear a mark on their right hand or forehead. This is not merely a sign of allegiance but a tool of unprecedented centralized control. It is an eternal sign of loyalty, one like the world has never seen, a sign where those who accept it are seen as damned souls destined for the lake of fire. Through this sign, the beast, the Antichrist, dictates the very ability to engage in the most basic economic transactions. This sign will dictate whether you can buy or sell. The message is clear: without this sign, not only are you ostracized from society, but also deprived of the means to survive within it. Consider the implications of such control in a world already inclined towards centralization, where digital currencies and global surveillance hint at the arrival of this man of sin. The scenario presented in the apocalypse seems frighteningly plausible, not just plausible, but in a way, probable. The regime of the Antichrist will overshadow anything humanity has witnessed, creating a world where every dissenting voice is silenced and every act of defiance is met with swift retribution. This global pervasiveness is not just about geographical domination but a comprehensive infiltration into the very fabric of society. It transcends social, economic, and political barriers, touching every life, from the greatest to the smallest, from the rich to the poor, from the young to the old. The centralized control exerted through the mark is a profound demonstration of power. It signifies not only physical control over the bodies of humanity but a deeper and more insidious dominion over their spiritual destinies. Revelation 14:9-10, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead, or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. The wrath of God, poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. The passage in Revelation 14:9-10 unequivocally indicates that those who accept this mark are openly defying God. In essence, anyone who bears the mark of the beast is condemned, for by embracing the beast's symbol, they demonstrate their lack of faith. The third angel reveals the fate awaiting those who adhere to the beast. Each of them will face the full wrath of God. God is depicted pouring out his judgment without restraint, filling the cup of his wrath to overflowing. The global reach and centralized control of the Antichrist serve as a grim warning, casting a chilling shadow over the future of the world. They expose the depths to which evil will ascend in the last days, manifesting through a leader who brazenly seeks to usurp God's rightful place in the order of creation. This imminent reality evokes a sense of urgency and solemn reflection, compelling humanity to confront the harsh implications of such unchecked power. Our contemporary world bears witness to an unprecedented connectivity, an intricate web of technology, trade, and communication that binds nations and peoples in ways unimaginable to previous generations. However, it is precisely within this interconnected landscape that the seeds of the Antichrist's reign find fertile ground to take root and flourish. The very fabric of our global society, with its intricate networks and interdependencies, provides the stage upon which the Antichrist will orchestrate his tyrannical rule. In this age of rapid information exchange and seamless connectivity, the potential for centralized control to extend its reach to every corner of the globe is unparalleled. Through it all, let me remind you that God is in control.